Hello, everyone. A very fine morning from Kiev, but it was not a very fine morning because we had a terrible missile attack starting all over Ukraine, starting from almost 5:30 in the morning, well, from 6 if realistically. And people were in hiding, and I think all of us were. So now it's sunny. We can't believe that a few hours before what a stress we had been through. So this was the like a roller coaster life we are having. And today we are going to talk to a lot of people who are very much inside this very interesting period. I would say a terrible period with a lot of challenges. And I have with me four, five students, five of them, and they are all from different countries. Primarily, two students are from India, Somia Hazel and Ishna Verma, and I have uh, Anastasia Dube from Zimbabwe, Clemencia also from Zimbabwe, and of course Serena from Nigeria. I'll be very happy to present before you their life stories. Their life stories means they already have undergone, like most people in Ukraine, irrespective of they are Ukrainians or foreigners, doesn't matter. So without making more introductions, I will just quickly say that Anastasia is a very unique person. Anastasia Dube is her full name. She was born in faraway Australia. Can you imagine? And she's born to an Ukrainian mother and a Zimbabwean father. And today, what she's doing in this city of Vinnitsa in Kiev, she's studying dentistry and she's a final year student. So she is a great asset in terms of medical profession and also in terms of some intercultural dialogue because she speaks five languages. We will soon come to know which are those languages she speaks. So she came in 2019, October, which was just prior to the pandemic. So instead of me telling her story, I'll just transfer the word to Anastasia and ask you, can you briefly say what made you stay in Ukraine and about yourself a little bit? Can you?
Yes, hello, my name is Anastasia again. And My stay in Ukraine, I don't really know where to start. But I came prior to the pandemic in 2019, and I only had like a few good years before the pandemic started. And then when the pandemic started, it was 2020, and we all went into lockdown. It was a difficult period, but I guess it was for everyone. So, given the amount of people in the world who were going through the same thing, it didn't feel like a difficult experience um, because we're all in it together. And then we all know how COVID went, but after COVID ended, the war started. Then that's where things really, really took a turn. So the war started in February 2022. And I've been in Vinnitsa this whole time. I didn't leave when the war started. So most of my friends, my colleagues, left. So even my Ukrainian friends left when the war started, and I was left in Vinnitsa by myself with my not by myself per se, but because I had my mom and my grandmother. But it was really scary those days because I really didn't know what I should do if I should leave the country, if I should stay in the country. Um, but I ended up staying regardless, and I've been here since then. It has been difficult, but as you can see, I'm still here, and I'm just grateful.
Yeah, so what is the situation in Zimbabwe? What do people say over there? How do people think of Ukraine over there?
Right now, people really think of Ukraine as a war zone. So whenever I say like I'm in Ukraine, first question is, are you in the army? What are you doing there? And I
Oh,
have to start
okay.
saying, no, I'm a student. I'm studying. And a lot of people ask me, why don't you leave? And it's like, it's not that simple. Uh, so
But
yeah,
would you
it's
leave? Would you leave if you have a chance? Because I want to know that. If you're given a chance to leave, would
honest.
you leave or you will keep on staying?
To be honest, right now, I prefer to stay. In the based when the war started, I was in panic mode. I didn't know what to do, and
Okay, all right.
I,
So right now, your feeling for Ukrainian people is very, very much deeper. It became deeper during these crisis times, right?
yes, actually, I always joke with my Ukrainian friends that I'm more Ukrainian than they are because when the war started, I didn't leave, and I've been here longer than most of them. And I can say I've even experienced being in Ukraine more than they have, and I've learned a lot during this long period of time.
All right. I'll get back to you again. We will discuss many things. So thank you for that introduction. And I'll ask Somia. Somia comes from India. Somia has also a very interesting experience of being in Ukraine. And she has already been a part of our project. In fact, the first seminar, she was here. She comes from the state of Jharkhand, which is close to my home, by the way. My home is in Kolkata, and she comes from a city called Dhanbad, which is not far from there. And she wants to be a doctor, definitely. And as Anastasia, every one of them are doctors. So we have a session with doctors today. Now, what do you think that it is? This is a country, as Somia says, that this country has written its name with golden letters on the pages of our history. This is a great statement to make. What makes you say such thing about Ukraine? And what are your feelings? Can you say, Somia?
Yes, ma'am. It's because it's fighting for its land, and it's not easy that everybody is able to fight. Uh, Today, we see a lot of people who just give away and surrender. More likely, they surrender and they want to be suppressed. But this country has fought for itself, for the land of its own, and for the children of its own. So yes, it has written its name there. Like it's a very big thing that it's fighting for itself, and it has given its name for like the golden letters of the history. So yes, ma'am.
Uh, what would you do when you go back? What will you tell to your people in India?
Like I would definitely tell about the bravery of this country people because I am after coming from the like I went back after the war escalated. So when I came back, I saw really less people I saw, but it's like I still see people here, and they are like the bravest people I can ever see. They have a fear of life that anything can happen at any minute of their life, but still they're here and they're they're feeding their family. They're staying with their family. So I'll definitely talk about the bravery of this country people, countrymen, the country people, women, and the children who are staying here. So the life hasn't stopped and still it's going on. So it's very
And so,
brave of them to feel
very,
this way.
it's very interesting that you have this view. And also, I wanted to say that uh, will you be coming back again if you get a chance after you finish your education? You go back to India, but would you mind visiting? Would you
So
like
yes,
visiting Ukraine?
yes, ma'am, definitely because college life is like one of the very biggest uh, things that a person experiences. Like life teaches us a lot of things in our college life, and Vinnitsa has like mended me. I would say it has made me to what I am right now.
All
So
right.
definitely, I would like to.
Thank you. Uh, Now, Clemencia. Clemencia is a very, very interesting person. Clemencia Moyo, she also arrived in 2019. And also she's calling Ukraine her second home. She was born and, raised in Zimbabwe, and she has a strong sense of identity and pride. So, but she found a similar level of warmth among the Ukrainian people, and she finds them very kind. But she was tormented between, whether to leave, to stay. And she even had a chance to go to the UK to join part of her family and enrolled for a pharmacy program. She could have being educated there, maybe not a doctor, but pharmacy. But she returned, but she did not want to, choose anything else. And Why did she return? Can you tell me what pushed you to return, Clemencia?
Okay, so first of all, I really wanted to complete this degree. I've I've never imagined myself doing anything other than medicine, and I couldn't imagine doing pharmacy. I think that was the scariest part of my life, having so many people have an opinion in my life. And, you're back to being a child and everyone's just deciding what you should do and what they think is best for you. I mean, I really appreciate my uncle and everything, but I think those were the hardest days, especially because I was propelled, I would rather say
Yeah.
forced, but strongly propelled to apply to different universities every day. Literally, I was always on the internet applying to Germany. It's everywhere. And then Reading University offered me pharmacy. And I was excited that I passed the interview, but I was so devastated that there's a chance that I'll actually have to do this. And everything started happening. I started applying for accommodation at the university, and I was just so sad because I wasn't ready to leave Ukraine behind. I wasn't ready to close that chapter of my life. And yeah, it's just difficult.
So you just can't leave. It is very painful for you to live, right? Painful for you to leave. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that easy, Like I said, it's become a second home. I've spent most of my adult years here,
Oh,
living amongst friends because I mean, I left home when I was 20, and I was living with my family, and then I came here and to be independent. I found friends, I found family, and
okay.
it's not that easy to just leave. Like there's so many kind people. I have my neighbors next door. Every morning they say good morning, and she gets so excited. The other day she gave me a pack of gloves, and she was like, "You use this at the hospital." And I'm like, it's not that easy to leave that behind. It's not that easy to leave family.
What will you do when you go back home? You will have all these memories. Do you want these people to visit you, to
I
show
would
your
love to
place,
take everyone
to
with
show
me.
your country, to show what all the whole culture that you represent, Do you
Yeah.
want to build the bridge? Yes?
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to, honestly. We always talk about Victoria Falls and how different people come and visit. I hope they do. And I hope I get to come back to visit them as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm very, very fascinated with the idea of your sense of pride and identity. Can you speak a little bit about that? How were you raised, and what do you mean by it? And do you think that the same level of identity is there among Ukrainians?
I think so. I was raised by my parents in Zimbabwe. I grew up with two brothers, and I think from a young age, I've always had that thing like I'm African, I'm Zimbabwean, and I've always had a sense of pride that comes with that. And I remember like one of the very first things that I noticed when I started school with a few girls from different cultures is how my hair used to, stand like my afro. And then I remember someone saying like our head defies gravity, and that became a sense of my head defies gravity.
Oh,
I can
wow.
defy all odds. And I just love being African above all things. I love being Zimbabwean. I mean, our country, you've heard stories. We've gone from having trillionaire currencies, but I wouldn't
Yes.
change for anything. And I think it's the same for Ukrainians. The fact that people are still here and continuing their life in the war, and you see, I think there was this day where there was this march like around Sky Park, and the pride in them calling this their country and the way they were just it's amazing.
All right. Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Serena, I want to ask you. You come from Nigeria, very, very oil-rich, very resourceful, and very, very interesting country. What are your thoughts about Ukraine? You feel that Ukraine is something that you also call your second home, but you at the same time you also come from a very beautiful city, ancient city, which is famous for its timber, its plywood, rubber, flour, and seeds. It's very resourceful. So, can you describe your home, the beauty? And you also worked, you have a work experience, and you came a little later in 2021. Oh, well, but that was sort of like the pandemic time. And then how did you feel at that point?
Okay, so thank you for your question and thank you for your introduction as well. So, when I came in 2021, I was very, very young as at that time. And I met a lot of people because I was first in Chmielnicki before I later transferred to Vinnytsia. And I got the chance to meet a lot of people from different countries. It was actually quite interesting for me, getting a chance to try new cuisines from Ukraine and stuff because I like food, right?
Oh,
And yeah, so it was actually like very cool and stuff. And then um, in 2022, right, when the war broke out, it was actually quite heartbreaking for me because um, at that point I had already like made a lot of cool friends and I had already like adapted to staying in Vinnytsia, right? Um, I didn't really have plans on going back to my home country anytime soon, right? You know, traveling, going here, I don't really like traveling so much. It's stressful for
okay.
me. So I I was heartbroken. And when the war started, I didn't want to leave, actually. I never had the mindset of leaving. But my parents, they had to call some of my friends that, oh my God, drag Serena along with you as you're going, please. And those kind of things. That was what made me leave. And it was very stressful, the whole journey from Vinnytsia till I got to Poland. I think it was about 24 hours and stuff. It was very long. But we thank God for everything, right? Um, Getting to the point where I decided to come back, right? I decided to come back because it's like my second home now. I'm used to this. Like I'm already used to living in Vinnytsia, and plus my friends that are still here, they were already telling me that, oh, Serena, it's calm here. You can come back. It's okay. Don't worry about anything. And even though I was telling my parents that, oh, you should come back. You shouldn't go. Like they kept telling me, don't go. No, 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 we can't. Because right now in Nigeria, what they say is, when they hear, oh, you're from Ukraine. Oh, you're from Ukraine. Are you not afraid? You want to go back? That kind of thing. It's,
Yes.
and then my reply is, yes, I want to go back. Yes. Yes, I know there's war in Ukraine, but like, first of all, it's my studies. Like, I have to complete this degree. And secondly, I don't know, I'm kind of stubborn in this situation. Like, I don't just want to let go. I just like, I feel like giving up is not an option, right? And I believe that this whole thing is gonna get better. That's what I believe, right? So I always look at the positive side of everything. And the thought of how I have like what I've experienced from the Ukrainians, they are very friendly, very hospitable. I saw a lot of nice things during that wartime. Like I was so touched by a lot of things I saw that time. So it brought back a lot of memories, and the thought of me coming back, yeah, it was like a good idea. I was like, yes, I had to come back. And coming back and seeing like how everything is right now, I believe that everything is gonna get better. And hopefully Ukraine is gonna be like heaven, right? It's gonna be very, very good and stuff like that. Yeah.
So it has been like a kind of resilience that you all have
Yeah.
shown. Like you see the resilience among Ukrainians. Is it that resilience that sort of like infected you? Like you got influenced by their resilience, their courage, or
Yes.
your being here
Yes.
also adds to it. So do you think
Yes.
there are anti-Ukrainian propaganda in your country? Do you hear that?
Mm, from my region, not really. I don't really hear of anything like that. But what they just want is hopefully the whole thing de-escalates. Everything gets better. That's just what people talk about in my region of Nigeria. Like they just talk about how they want everything to get better, hopefully, because it's not just affecting just Ukrainians, but like I mean other countries are receiving like the impact of it. So they just want everything to get better for us to be able to travel freely because now I can't even go and see my family, no flights direct. So like that's just it. So they just talk about how everything should get better. All parties, what my parents say is, oh, please let all parties just sit together and just talk and resolve everything. They don't really like anything that would be stressful or something. So it's more of like just talking about a peace talk and stuff.
Yeah, that is there. That is there. What do you think of these relations between Nigeria and Ukraine? What is the situation today? I know this is not a field of your discipline, but I just want to ask you, do you think you can contribute to it, to strengthen it in the future? Do you have such ambitions?
Of course. Of
So
course, that would be nice.
what precisely
Um,
can you do?
there are a lot of things actually, like their what's the word, like culture, how they act. It's a lot of interesting thing actually trying to introduce them to our Nigerian culture, our food. Actually, it's one of the good things. Our food, our culture, how our music, dance, and everything. It's actually something worth like learning about, something you could like get what's that word, like it's actually very good. It would be something worth introducing to and stuff.
And also introducing Ukraine to Nigeria, probably. Would you like to
Yes,
do that? So
of
what will you
course.
take? What will you show to what kind of food, what kind of ornaments, dress? What can you do if you are asked to present Ukraine over there, represent Ukraine, show
Hmm.
about Ukraine? What do you think you
Oh,
will find it?
yes, of course, because you see, one fascinating thing about Nigeria is that we have like more than 300 like tribes in Nigeria. So it's quite diverse and a lot of different foods, different dresses. Oh, it's amazing. So it's not like you just taste one, two, three different like types of dishes and then you're like, no, it's a lot. So it's quite like it encourages people to want to learn more because now you're
Mhm.
seeing that, wow, you taste this, this is nice. You taste this is nice. You see this dressing, oh my God, it looks so beautiful, so colorful, so flashy, and stuff like that. And then when you get to know more about like the history of Nigeria, the history and a lot of cultures,
Mhm.
how people act, their traditions, difference between different cultures, it's one of the things that could actually want to make people learn more about Nigeria.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you about how will you teach about Ukraine? How will you allow Nigerians to learn more about Ukraine? What can you do to do
Okay.
that?
Oh,
The
I
other
can,
way, the other
let's
way.
say, that's okay. What can I do? In this case, I could just like, because I'm a cook, right? In this case, I'm a cook, and
Oh, you're a cook.
I could try to like make, yes, I can cook, and I could like
Okay.
make, it would be like is it like a buffet where you can come and just try different African cuisines and just
No, and about Ukrainian
just
cuisine, will you do Ukrainian cuisine in Nigeria? Will you be able to do that? That is what I'm asking you. How will you show
yes.
Ukrainian culture in
Yes,
Nigeria?
I could. Yes,
So what are the
I
dishes
could
you can
like
cook?
learn. Let's say, for example, Ukrainian borscht, vareniki, like introduce like Ukrainian dishes in Nigeria. Talk about their dresses, bring their dresses to Nigeria, like try to show them that this is what they wear on this day and this is how it looks like. This is the kind of dance that they have different kind of dances, so like and their music as well. So we could try to like just introduce their culture to Nigeria, make people want to learn about Ukrainian culture, their
Mhm.
beautiful jewelry, their head jewelry and stuff. Yes.
That's very beautiful. That's a very interesting input. Just think over what you can do if you're asked to have a folk festival of Ukraine. You can prepare a program of that. How will you do it? You know, it's an interesting assignment for you maybe in the future. It might happen. So, yes. So, thank you so much, Serena. We've been really discussing very nice things. I will turn to some serious aspects of conversations with the others, but before I do that, I would like to go to Ishna Verma from India. She is she is also fascinated by Ukraine, and I dare say she is a sixth-year student, so she will be soon finishing. And you know, she came in 2019, and it's very interesting that it was like she went for evacuation during the first days of the war, but then she came back, you know, because she also calls it home away from home. But above all, what she says is Ukraine empowered me as a woman and helping me find my identity. It's a very strong word, you know, and so she says that, you know, since I cannot join frontline like many brave men and women, I would like to support the nation by volunteering, by other things. And if I have to do it once again, any chance I get, I will do the same. I will not change. Can you say, Ishna, how did your life's path, you know, get you to make such strong and very committed statements?
Yeah, sure. First of all, hello everyone. Well, I said that because I've been to places other than Ukraine. I've been with people who are not Ukrainians, and I think that the resilience and the devotees these people are, it's very good. It's very strong. They have such a strong sense of commitment to their country and their lands. And it's not just about the freedom. It's also about how you see people and you learn from them. So coming back to this country, especially after the war, first of all, when I left, I thought maybe it'll all be okay, it'll be fine. But when I was leaving and I reached at the airport in my country, I was so devastated, thinking that I did something wrong. I should not have left. So that, and after coming back, because I was firm on the decision that I will come back no matter what happens. So when I came back, I realized that if these people can go through the war by themselves and it's their country, then why can't I? I mean, I am here, I'm eating their food, I'm living the life they are living. So I think that it would be better for me to do it again and again, and it would give me a perspective as well, different, because I feel blessed. I am here, and it is not the opportunity that many people get,
Oh,
especially girls.
you think this is an unique opportunity for you? Why do
Yes,
you say
because
it empowered you as a woman and gave you some identity? How about that? Can you describe me? Why did you
yeah,
say
sure.
this? Because you felt it that way? If it's
Yes,
possible to, yeah. How did
well,
it
first of
empower
all,
you?
okay, well, first of all, I would like to say that I come from a place where I'm blessed with amazing parents. My parents are like, they believe me, they trust me. And when I went back, I asked them, I like, do you want me to go back or do you want me to stay? So they were like, we will support whatever decision you take in your life, but we want you to know that you should make an informed decision. So when I said that yes, I wanted to come back, and there was one of my friends also who was from the same place where I am from, and her parents did not allow her to come back. Instead, they asked her to change the career paths entirely. And they said that what is left in Ukraine, there will be nothing happening there anymore. So you should either change the paths or you should just go back to another country. So, and she wanted to come back, but her parents did not allow her that at all. But mine did, and they trusted my decision. So I was like, and they said to me that you are out there in the world, you know the core situation that is happening in the country. And if you want to go back, we trust your decision. So coming here, it also empowered me as a woman in that way, because not many girls in in my area specifically, they get to make that decisions for
Excuse
themselves.
me, which place are you from in
Well,
India?
I'm from Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah, so the place, can you name the place?
Yeah, I'm from Lakhimpur Kheri.
Ah, okay, okay. So around there, women are restricted by parents or by their, elders to follow certain, certain advice and guidance, etc. So, but your case was different.
Yes.
What
Well,
do you think?
it's also not in a bad way, but parents, they fear for their girls, especially if it is a girl.
Yeah, yeah. The
So they,
girl, girl babies are, are, very careful. I mean, they should be careful. And, in India, the situation is a little bit different. So everyone knows it. So safety of girls, security of girls is an issue in India, So
yeah.
maybe they were worried from that point of view that, abroad and war and what all not happening. But
Yeah.
did you ensure that you are absolutely safe? Do you video chat with them? How do you keep the connection? How do you keep connection? You must be keeping regular connection.
Well, yes, I talk to them also right now. But the thing is that my mom calls me almost every other day. But my father is like, don't call her every day. Let her do what she's doing. And whenever she's free, she'll call us back and she'll inform us. So this is the argument that my mom and my dad always have, that I'll call her every day, and my father's like, no, don't need to. Just she's busy. Let her do what she's doing, and then she'll call us whenever she's free.
Mm-hmm.
So, but still, I call my mom because she's my mom and she gets worried. Also, during the wartime, how I kept in touch with them was because at that time, for a few hours, the internet was not working. And the news was all over the place that the war has started in Ukraine, and people are like, there are missiles everywhere, people are dying. So, yes, of course, everybody was worried. So, what I did at that time was just put a status on my WhatsApp that I am fine, everything is fine here, because I live in Vinnitsa right now. And Vinnitsa, as compared to Kiev and Kharkiv, was not that much in danger.
Yeah.
So I said that I am safe for now, and I don't have internet right now, but I will call you as soon as I get the internet or the possibility of calling you people. So they understood, all of my friends, family, and my friends' families. All of them were very, I would say, supportive that way. That she might
Okay.
get the chance,
Okay.
and whenever she gets it, she'll call us.
What will you do? How will you change? Because in India, many people are very much pro-Russian, and they are, if they are not anti-Ukrainian, but they are not so much supporting Ukraine, that because of the media and other things. Uh, how will you change their minds if you want to do you think it is possible? Do you think it is
Well,
possible to change them?
Well, yes, of course, it's possible. If I do great efforts, it is possible. But I don't think that if they are pro-Russian, they would do things against Ukrainian. Because personally, I did a few things when I went back. I talked to my I talked to my parents and grandparents and their friends when they visited my house about this country, what is happening here, how people are here. So they were also like, if it is possible, we would like to help in any way possible. So I was like, for now, in from India, you cannot do anything. But what you can do is you can educate your own people, your own
Yes.
families and friends, that Ukraine, even though it is a small country, but it is a great country. And not just people here, the cuisine here, the culture here, the thoughts that people have, the freedom that people want. I explained it to them like, if anyone captured your own country, would you like to give it up? No. Then how can this country give it up? Even if it doesn't have that much resources, it'll build it.
Yeah.
But for now, freedom is important for them as well. So they were
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a very, very interesting input you have given. I'll come back to you again. So I want to ask Anastasia, are you there? So Anastasia, what do you think about, Zimbabwe? Do you think people will hear you? Or I want to ask a difficult question to all of you, but let me start with this. Uh, would you like to change some people's thoughts, or people in general are more pro-Ukrainian? Do they support Ukraine when this whole thing is going on? And what about the Russians are really colonizing the Ukrainians in that sense, and your countries and all our countries had been former colonies. So in that sense, is it possible for the Zimbabweans to understand Ukrainians? logically, yes?
Uh, Strange enough, in my experience, there is no sympathy in common. Like you think just because we have what Ukraine is going through now is similar to what my country and a lot of other countries in Africa have gone through. You think we have a kind of mindset that they're going under colonization and fighting for freedom. But a lot of people, for some reason, don't seem to see it that way. And it's very strange for me because it's so obvious. You wouldn't think it's something that you actually need to explain. But in more cases than not, I find myself having to explain why this war is happening, how it started, because a lot of people seem to have made up reasons, like conspiracy theories on how we got
Yes.
here, like who started this war. You know, a lot of things that you think they're straightforward facts. People will bombard you with questions that make you question a lot of things on the information war, like where do they even get their news? Because it doesn't make sense, their interpretation of what is actually going on. Because a lot of people think maybe Ukraine had a part in starting the war, maybe Russia is fighting for its own territory. All of these made up conspiracy theories that don't make sense. And every time I have a conversation about why am I in Ukraine, what's happening in Ukraine, it always kind of makes me angry because um, you know, all of these things have been published in the news, and it shouldn't be even a question of how the war started, what is happening, and all and most of all, I don't like it when a lot of people start to blame Ukraine. You know, like you blame an invaded country for being invaded. Where's the logic in all of that? So yeah, it's a very uncomfortable discussion to have with a lot of people, and um, in most situations, I find myself trying to avoid it because some people kind of approach you with not looking for answers, but just trying to prove their
Yes.
points.
Okay.
So that's a
Okay.
difficult place to find yourself in, because if someone is genuinely asking what happened, I'll happily start with you from where you started and where we are today. But if you come to me with made up ideas about what's going on, then it's very difficult for me to go back uh, and give you an answer, because you have answers. You're just trying to I don't really know what you're trying to do, but it's an unpleasant situation to find yourself in, to try and explain
Yeah,
yourself.
absolutely. Do you think that I would ask a very, very unpopular question, though, that there are many
Hmm.
Ukrainians who are leaving the country? Many
Yes.
Ukrainians have left, so are there Ukrainians who are really like, I face a lot of such Ukrainians. Why are you here now? Like, with a little bit of maybe there are many people with a lot of friendliness, a lot of, sympathy and oh, great, you are with us. They are solidarity as a mark of solidarity. But there are Ukrainians who would be a little suspicious about you. Did you see that? Very, very unpopular question, but if at all, what drives them away from their country? I mean, there are such Ukrainians, don't you think so?
Uh, with me, I haven't really faced that, mainly because um, I didn't travel much during this duration of the war. I spent most of my time in Vinnitsa, so I think I was more in Vinnitsa than other people. So other people were finding me there. It was me asking me why what they're
Okay,
looking for.
okay.
So I didn't really face much of that.
Well, yes. Do you think a lot of interest in your country? People come to you to ask about your country. They like to know about your country, and there's a lot that you can do. Do you feel there is a big, big, big job before you, apart from being a dentist and a doctor?
About Ukraine in my
Yeah.
country, or about my
Yeah,
country
yeah.
in
I
Ukraine?
mean, wherever you will be, wherever you will be. I'm not locking you up in your country. Maybe you go back to Zimbabwe. Maybe you go to Australia. I don't know. Wherever you are, all of you, like all of you become doctors, but you will find your place in this world. So what would you do for Ukraine? What do you think is the great mission you already will have in the future? Because these years you're spending, it'll not be just like that. Or do you think it'll just be passing years?
Of course not. Of course not. Um, to be honest with me, it has really changed my identity in a sense because prior to my coming to Ukraine, I identified mostly as Zimbabwean. So the fact that I'm half Ukrainian will only come up, maybe after talking to me for a long time. I
Okay.
was identified as Zimbabwean. So after living here for 5+ years, I have come to embrace my Ukrainian side, which is very strange because I'm an adult and it's only now that I'm actually coming up with my Ukrainian side and getting to know a lot of things about Ukraine, how to cook Ukrainian dishes, Ukrainian holidays, how to speak the language, how to sing in the language, because I've come to I can consider myself close to fluent in Ukrainian. And prior to my coming, I barely spoke any Ukrainian word.
Okay.
So
Which
it
are the
has been.
languages, by the way, you speak? You speak 5 languages.
I speak English, Ndebele, because I'm half. My father is Ndebele, so English, Ndebele, Ukrainian, Shona, and Tonga. So the other ones are local
Okay.
languages.
Okay,
Because
great.
my father used to travel a lot when I was growing up around the country, so I got to learn a lot of languages.
That's good. That's great. That's great. So you're with your mom here, right? Are you with your mom?
Yes, right now with my mom.
Okay, so this empowerment, or you're becoming a very important part of your life, rediscovering kind of another part of your identity. Is it very fascinating for you? Is it something very unique in your experience, right? You're trying to
It
find out
is.
your own identity, alter identity, let's say. You have dual
It is
identity.
actually, because my mother has 6 children, so I'm part of 6 kids, and we all same mother, same father. And I turn out to be more Ukrainian than they are, even though we are biologically are so related. We share the same mother, same father, but even my older brothers and sisters, they don't speak Ukrainian, pure Ukrainian. Like I speak pure Ukrainian than my mother even. So it's very strange sometimes when we try to speak in Ukrainian, because my sisters and brothers would be speaking in Russian and mixing Russian and Ukrainian and English with my mom, and I'm the only one speaking in Ukrainian, and it's a very strange experience to find myself in, but it's also very interesting.
All right. So, and do you keep your connection with Zimbabwe every day or regularly?
I couldn't hear you. Can you come again?
Do you communicate with Zimbabwe, with your dad or with other relatives?
For this past years, I haven't been that much because I have been in Ukraine for a long time. So I only talk to my close family, like my brothers, my sisters, my father, and maybe a few relatives. So I don't really get to talk much. Maybe when I go back, then that's when I'll have more
Okay.
interactions.
You plan to go back. You don't plan to stay here and work. If you get a
Actually,
chance,
I haven't
do you want
totally
to stay
decided.
here and work?
I haven't totally decided because the problem with I have now is I want to visit home, but it's so difficult to come back. So there's always the struggle. Like if I go back, I might not be able to come back even if I want to.
Okay.
So yeah, I can't make up a final decision because of the difficulties with immigration and getting a visa and all that. But given the chance, it'd be nice to be able to stay here.
Yeah, if you manage to contribute to Ukraine, because Ukraine will need a lot of people, a lot of talented people, and if you have been grown up in Ukraine, it will be a good investment to be here and work with Ukrainians and help in this country. I would like to ask also the same question to others. Thank you, Anastasia. We will shortly finish, but stay with us a little bit more. So I want to ask Hazel. Sorry, I see your name, Somia or Hazel. How should I call you, really? Which is your
Like both
name?
of them are my name, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So you
so
can call me Somia Hazel.
okay, Somia. It has been a very trying time. How do you think you will, from your perspective, work here or go back? What do you think? If you're given a
For in
chance.
If I were given a chance to stay here, I would have stayed here. But it's like for parents, it's like all the children are equal, but I'm the only child to take care of
Ah,
my family.
okay,
So I'd rather go back because I have to take care of them too. Like I have been out for a long time. Like even during my 11th and 12th grades, I was in my hostel. Like it was my own decision that I wanted to like make myself a bit different from like stay away and a bit different. But I was always attached to my parents because I am very emotional and I'm very attached to my family. So after completing my studies, definitely I'll go back. But if I were given a chance to bring my parents here and stay here, like I would definitely love to do that because I really love
okay.
this place. And
That's a very interesting perspective because Ukraine usually doesn't have that. But I think it is going to come because, the war will end and people will need qualified professionals to work in different areas. And when you are familiar with the system, familiar with the country, there can't be better people, who have been here for a long time. So they are the ideal candidates. So, it'll be a very interesting thing. About the colonial thing, I wanted to ask you, logically, India should support Ukraine. And I know a lot of Indians do support Ukraine. But again, in the official domain or in even among politicians, among these big shots, we always hear some kind of a balancing, some kind of a neutrality and all kinds of those things. Although we had Prime Minister coming and visiting, you were there, you saw everything. What do you think? Will there be a turnaround slowly? Will there be a turnaround? Will the society in India, we are a democratic country, can we push the leadership to think differently?
definitely, ma'am, because India not taking sides to any country, it has its own perspective, like in a more diplomatic way. But it has been helping Ukraine also. So I think that is a very big step in even like India is also giving its hand for the peaceful talks between the country. So I think it's a very nice step that India has taken of not taking one or two sides because it can also be a peace talk and a peaceful uh, connections between both the countries. I know suppression operation is not a good thing, but it can be a very big step in the future. So I really support India for this decision too, because I personally wouldn't want any country to be a part of any oppression and suppression or a war. So yes, ma'am.
So
I
do you
think it
think
is a
there
good
can
thing.
be a change? People can, slowly, the government will be slowly changing. There is a big change from 2022. There is a shift in the attitudes, but it's still a long way. It's still a long way to go
Still a long way. Yes,
because
ma'am.
of
Because
all kinds of pressure and the US
yes, ma'am.
elections, the changes in the political circumstances, everything it dictates the world
Yes, ma'am.
to behave differently. Yes, and not politics, but what I mean is society. We cannot change the politicians; they will do their job. But what about the society? Can we make it more like sympathetic towards Ukraine? I know a lot of people are in favor of Ukraine, but can we make it more?
Yes, ma'am. Because a place, a land fighting for its independence. I think every country has fought for its independence, and we can give that as set that as an example, because India also fought for its independence, and a lot of countries have fought. So, giving that country as an example, we can definitely tell other people that yes, Ukraine fighting for its independence, it's not wrong at any cost for its land. I don't think it's wrong thing for fighting for our own home. Like somebody invading my home is something that I can never imagine. I will fight for my home because I have a family to take care of, and I will definitely not give up. So yes, these things I can tell other people too, that it's a very big thing to fight for its own independence. And for that, Ukraine and
So
our country too, it's a very brave country.
So the eyewitness account will matter. You are all eyewitnesses. You are not
Yes, ma'am.
just, you have seen the war, you've seen everything day to day. So you will be able to change it better, I think, than anyone from far away.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like Serena now to tell me about, did you decide which dishes will you cook if you want to make a festival about Ukraine in Nigeria? And what about what kind of Vishivanka will you popularize, and what songs?
So about like the dishes, like I said, there are like many kinds of dishes, right? But for now, the ones that I've tried is like shashlik, vareniki, and um, what's the name of this? The borscht, right? So it's more, that's the one I know now, but that does not mean that's all I'm going to introduce. Then their culture, their different attires, their dressing, and music. For music, it's more of like first of all, we can introduce, like, maybe just teach them their national anthem, because I like the national anthem very, very much. Whenever I have class and then it's played, I love it. And then we could like just talk about like for example, I am in the choir, in the school choir, and we do learn a lot of Ukrainian songs,
Okay.
right? Like cry, I didn't cry a song say. So like we do learn a lot of Ukrainian songs, and I could teach them those songs. Like currently now we are learning how to sing a Christmas, no, like a New Year song, and that would be very nice to teach them as well, right?
The
So
Carol
we
of the
could teach
Bells.
them
Do you
a
know
lot of
Carol of the
Ukrainian
Bells?
song.
Do you know Carol of the Bells?
Oh, this
The
one is not.
Shchedrik.
No,
Shchedrik,
not.
yeah. Oh, Shchedrik is world famous. Learn it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Right now what I
Because
know
you
is
know
the
the Carol
New
of the
Year.
Bells. It's the tune you know. You just have to change the words.
Okay, okay, okay. I will do that.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating experience, really. Clemencia, now turning over to you, I want to ask you something very different. If you were given the task of writing a book, somebody tells you, please tell about the experience. Will you write a book, or you do a video blog, or you just speak in lectures? How will you spread this message that is throbbing in your heart about Ukraine?
I think I would write a book. So funny thing is, after I left Ukraine when the war started, I did think about writing a book because
Okay.
everything we experienced at the border, just leaving the country. I think Ishna mentioned how hard it was for her. I think I share the same sentiments. You know, as I was standing there, like leaving the country, it dawned on me that there are so many people that are not going to do this. Some people don't have the opportunity to do this because they don't want to leave their loved ones behind. Like Anastasia, she couldn't like go without her mom and everything. And I think that has a story behind it. It's hard to,
Yes.
leave your home. It's hard to just pack and be like, I'm fine. But then, there are people behind that you're leaving. So I think it deserves a book.
You will write a book?
I hope so.
Okay,
I like
so I will look forward to reading it. I want to be one of your first readers, really.
Oh, thank you.
These personal experiences matter, because through the book you will try to re-educate people. People will come to know new things which they were not aware of, right? So that will be so important. Now, for the final round, I will just ask you to say a few words to your people, like to Nigerians, to Zimbabweans. What is in one sentence your message to the children of your country? What would you say about Ukraine? Can you start, Clemencia, then Serena, then everyone, and then we close.
Okay. To the children in Zimbabwe, I know Ukraine just seems like another country on the map that you don't dream about going. But if you do get the chance to go there, you're going to experience things that you can't just forget about. Sorry, you're going to experience things that are going to be written in your heart forever. And you're going to gain a whole perspective. I would go on forever, but I would just love for them to give it a chance, not to take what is in the news. Because even when I came here, I think in 2019, there were already talks of, there's been a war before. What if it happens again? I'm like, well, if it happens, it happens, but it still doesn't take away the experiences.
Thank you. Thank you. Serena, please.
Okay. So my message from Ukraine to Nigeria, right?
Yeah, to children.
To children in Nigeria.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so they shouldn't be worried about whatever is going on right now in Ukraine. And they shouldn't just conclude based on what's happening on the news, because the news kind of makes the information, like, it makes it worse than what is actually happening. So first of all, they should always be calm. They shouldn't panic. They should not feel like we that are here, we are in trouble or something. They should be calm, and they should believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel. This is just a phase, and we're surely we're gonna pass through it. And that's just my message for them. They should believe and hope and have faith.
Thank you. Thank you. Ishna Verma, please.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I would like to say that first of all, I would like to create a video introduction for everyone to know better, to get to know the country better, so that they can spread the information more. And then I would like to tell them more about how this country is still standing with everything going on. I would love to tell them my hands-on experience. I would also like to tell people to tell everyone else who are there, apart from their own family members, how small country such as like this, who was thought of not even surviving a day with Russia, in front of Russia, but is standing still, and it's been more than 2 years now, which is a big ask from a country which is so small, doesn't have any nukes, and doesn't have any power, like military power, as compared to Russia. So I would spread the information that if a smaller country like that can stand against a bigger country like Russia for more than 2 years, I think it deserves a lot more than it is now. So it would be good for our leaders to help the country in any way possible, and it will only happen if we, the people of my country, will maybe they can make a protest, or maybe they can just go in a procession in a pro-Ukrainian rally or something, and can talk more about this, so that it comes under the eyes of the leaders and they do something else more than that they are doing, even if they are doing anything. So I would educate people like that.
Thank you for that very interesting input, because you know which day it is today. Today is 996th day of the war. So the 1000 day will be on Wednesday. Wednesday will be the 1000 day of the 3-day war, the 3 day of taking Kiev. If you remember, I will take Kiev in 3 days. So this is the 1000 day that is reaching on the 20th. And on 21st, Ishna, I think we will have more chance of you coming to Kiev. This time you're not coming, but I assure you we will look forward to it in the coming year. Now, girls are coming here, so we will have our panel for the conference on the 1001 day, 1001. So that's very symbolic, that's very symbolic. And this is so important. I want to ask now, Anastasia, please, your take to the future generation. What would you say to them?
I think to the future generation, or to Zimbabweans back home.
Well, Zimbabwean future generation depends on where you are. So you will always meet the future generation. Wherever we go, we will meet this future generation. They will be there always, So you tell about Zimbabwe. Yes, you can say. What would you like to say? To the world, in fact, we should look broader. So, yeah.
To the world, I think my biggest message is to everyone who asks why why am I in Ukraine? Why have I been in Ukraine? What am I doing? I think, first of all, I really want to say I love being here and I'm not forced to be here. It's a choice that I've made and I don't regret. Um, and life here is actually nice and it's quite a normal life. It's strange to say it's a normal life in a war zone, but it has been. And thanks to the Ukrainian people and what they've been doing with this war, we've had the privilege to live a comfortable life in the midst of all the ups and downs. And that's something I'm very grateful for.
Thank you. Thank you. Somia, final word from you.
Yes, ma'am. I would definitely like to tell the future children about this country, because this country is a great country because it never stood for inequality, injustice, which is in itself a very big thing. Like, for future generations, it teaches us how we can make ourselves, how brave can we be in the future. So, country in itself has set a very big example for us. So I think I would like to just tell all everyone, like I have already done this in my when I went back to India, and when I was coming back here, everybody asked me, why are you even going back? It's just that the things that this country has taught me is a very big thing in itself. And I have already told them how wonderful it is to be here. The warmth that I have felt here is the only thing that has made me come back here. So, through my words, it's like through my words also, I have told and I've taught them that it's very nice to be generous, courageous, and it has helped me a lot. So, through these words only, I would like to tell other children that you have to be courageous, and it's very nice to fight for your country and your people. So, yeah, through this word, I would teach them.
Mhm. Okay, I would now ask people who are with us if you have questions to ask to any one of the participants, one or two questions, and then we will have to close probably. Yes, anyone interested in asking questions? Yes, Julia, please.
Could I? Yes. First of all, girls, thank you very much for your words about Ukrainians. It's so touchy, and as for me, it's you are kind of exaggerate much. I think we don't deserve such words from you. Thank you for you being here, for your courage, for your decision to proceed. Thank you for spreading truth about Ukraine in your homelands. I have a lot of questions to you, but I understand we don't have time. But may I ask the main question mostly to girls from African countries, because we are working now, I mean, in Ukraine, the attention to African country now is very big. And we really want to know more about African countries. And we are trying to destroy different stereotypes about Africa in general, and to get rid of colonial framework of the vision of the African countries. So just how do you see now your heritage, your so-called traditional culture? Is it something relevant for you in your everyday life, in your life in general? Are you still connected with the culture of your ancestors? This is my question. Maybe a little bit off topic, but please, would very like to hear your answer. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Whoever wants to take it up, can you just say in a few words about your indigenous traditional culture, which is not the colonial culture? Yeah. Anyone who wants to talk about it? Clemencia, Serena, or Anastasia, any one of you, please.
I think as the world has modernized, I will not lie, as a 21st century Zimbabwean girl, how I view my culture now is different from how they viewed it back in the day. But I think as the youth, I would say we are starting to appreciate it more in the way we dress. Well, definitely we're not dressing exactly like they used to, because they were very revealing. But I think using that material and how we dress, and it's coming back. But I wouldn't say we're very much connected to our ancestors as previous generations have been.
Yeah,
Well,
predictable, actually. Thank you.
Well, you know, Africanizing the whole space, there is a lot of heritage from Africa that has come to Europe, that has entered music, that has entered dress, that has entered hairstyles. You can see a lot, food, a lot of things have entered Europe. It's not the other way, you know. So, and of course, in a lot of it entered the United States. The Afro-American culture is basically something born in Africa. You know, even the part of the culture in Latin America was also from Africa. So there has been a big contribution of African culture all over the place. Yeah, so all over the world. And I think we are sometimes silent about it. We do not pay enough attention, but there is a very serious Africanization of culture in general, globalization through that also. It has gone far, far away. So if there are any more questions, if not, then I would, are there any more questions, please? Anyone else wants to say anything to what Clemencia said, Serena or Anastasia, regarding the culture, African culture?
I totally agree with everything Clemencia said, that it's not like in those days, like the ancient times, the way we took our African heritage like very, very, very serious. Like now we tend to appreciate the dressing. Whenever we have like special events and we get the chance to show off our African dressing or play our African music and dances, it's now something we appreciate more. And when we get the chance to let's say expose people, influence them with our different cuisines, right? It makes us feel special because they get the chance to try our dishes and say whatever they feel like about it, that, oh, it's nice or whatever, right? Spicy or something. So that's what I have to add. Like, it's interesting. It's still important, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. And of course, any more questions from the audience? If not, or Anastasia, would you like to say something?
Yes, I don't have a question, but I'd just like to add a little bit on the heritage and culture. But
yeah, sure.
We might not still practice a lot of cultural practices that our ancestors used to. And one thing that we really do is speak our own native languages. So although we're colonized, we all speak like our mother's tongue. Like almost everyone is fluent in their mother tongue, which is something that I really admire, even about a lot of Indians, for example. It's almost like a joke sometimes, but a lot of Indians speak their languages, even though they speak English.
Yes.
Back home.
Yes,
So
we
I
do.
really like this thing that even though we have been colonized, we've had our histories, we've all managed to somehow still speak our own native languages.
Here you see the language issue is very, very important for Ukraine, you know, and I want you to highlight it also. Okay, please remember. I will remember also, and we must put a very big stress on this. This is so important because we may speak different languages, but the trajectory of thoughts and the vibrations, the zeal and the energy for, you know, self-realization, freedom is the same. Okay, so is that all? If it is all, then we say thanks to everyone for attending and thanks to everyone for Yes, Alexandra, if you would like to say anything, we will have more sessions. Alexandra Kelemendik, she is a very brilliant, one of the most brilliant students of international relations. Now she's in the Kiev School of Economics doing her master's. She had been, my favorite student, in fact. So I would tell her that, she's excellent person and excellent student. And I'm very happy that she squeezed out some time to be with us on a Sunday morning. And I would say my colleague, Alda Volok, she's also here. And I have friends from India also. And I see Marina Kumeda, she's also here. So in a very small group, we have discussed, and I think you found it useful. Carry your ideas, carry your stuff with you, and then all of you, let's meet at the conference on Thursday, the 1001 number day. And those who want to listen to the conference, you can do it online, and I will probably, I will probably even send you the link where, send you the email where you can email and ask for a, invitation. Like you can write and they will register you. Just 1 second, I will give you the email for registering. So this will be very, very interesting. This will be a very interesting conference. So I think it will be important. I think I will say goodbye to everyone and finish it. So